right. We certainly cannot have a conversation about worker well-being without bringing in the family into the conversation, because you got to remember that you can't have a conversation about workers without realizing that they have an existence outside of the workplace. Okay? So work-family balance is this area of research looking at how the satisfaction we feel in the work side influences the family side, and how the satisfaction we feel on the family side influences the work side. Okay, and obviously for many people, the non-work side of the family, or the non-work side, is the family. For many. Okay, so one model is the spillover model. That is, attitudes and behaviors carry over from one domain to another. So if you are experiencing job satisfaction, you're probably also going to be experiencing family satisfaction. Okay? So this is the idea, is that they'll kind of spill over, whether for good or for bad. Okay? The compensation model argues that they can not spill over, but they can compensate. So if you're having a job dissatisfaction, but you have a good family setup, then that can somehow compensate for the bad work setup. Okay, and then a third way is segmentation, and I think this is absolutely nonsense. After having worked for over 20 years with a family at the same time, that you can somehow segment your work from your family life. That's not possible. I can't not imagine any human being on the planet being able to do that. Okay? In a fairly recent study of employers, what they found was that those organizations that were flexible and supporting of a work-family culture had higher employee engagement, higher job satisfaction. There was more intention to stay, less negative spillover, better mental health. And I remember, actually, this was about 10 years ago now. I still remember, because we had a department chair in the psychology department. She was long gone. But she was very supportive of me being flexible to be able to pick up my children from school, these kinds of things. So she would schedule my classes in such a way to make that possible. So that was an amazingly good experience. Now, we had another faculty member in the department who had a ranch, had horses, and I remember one time he was assigned to teach a 9 o'clock class, and he almost went into a fit, and he said, "How come you are flexible for Dr. Brown's family, but you're not flexible for my horses?" And it was like, I'm not sure you can compare a child to a horse. And though I didn't say it, I really wanted to say, it is actually legal to eat a horse. You know that, right? It was just like, these are incomparable situations. So I did appreciate, that was one of the best parts of being a faculty member, was that there was this incredible flexibility so that I would eliminated a lot of the work-family conflict. So family supportive supervisor behaviors, and it's a fairly new measure that is above and beyond earlier measures that predict job satisfaction and turnover. But I think that there is some. I've shown some skepticism, and here's one of the skepticism where I think some IO psychologist somewhere had to justify their paycheck and came up with this particular measure, shall we say. But, whatever, maybe they're right. Okay. So here's a nice visual demonstration of what, the work-family conflict model. So we see here, personal value, personal and family value, variables, work variables, kind of come together and create work-family conflict. But again, just like always, there's going to be coping mechanisms, resources that you have at home, resources the organization gives you to help moderate this, the amount of conflict which exists. And then, of course, the conflict that you experience will lead to outcomes. Okay? So one of the more, I call it recent, I guess, I'm a little older than y'all, I bet, But yeah, more recent is the idea that 45% of the labor force. That was in 1998. Damn, I'll bet you that's old number. A very large portion of the workforce is composed of dual earner couples. So both member is employed and yet somehow maintains a family. So we find that child care becomes an issue, shall we say, an issue of conflict. So work family enrichment is a model where, well, family, I don't like this one. You take it. All right, so one of the PSYOP trends, caring for employee well-being, absolutely. That companies that fail to remember that employees have a life outside of work are doomed to failure. They will not retain their employees. They just won't. There will be a lot of job dissatisfaction and employee turnover. So we've already talked about the FMLA, which we said is a relatively new federal law, the Family Medical Leave Act. And employees can take up to 12 weeks because of family related. Again, like we said, it's unpaid leave. All right, that's one of the keys. And the problem is that employees can't afford to use it. And remember, as I told you earlier, the Family Medical Leave Act says that the company's required to hire you back at the same or similar position. But if you're gone for 12 weeks, your position is already filled by somebody else because you can't just leave positions empty. Most other countries in the planet have better setups than the U.S. does. Okay, pathetic. Okay? So some of the different family-friendly benefits that employers are offering to help with this work-family conflict. Parental leave programs. Employees can leave for child-rearing things, depending. Okay. Family leave policy, take time off for illnesses, etc. Child care benefits, absolutely. That was when my children were very little. That was the biggest problem. Was daycare. Oh my God, getting them to daycare, picking them up from daycare, paying for daycare. Oh my God, that stuff is criminally expensive. Okay, but then at the other end, elder care, because you've got a generation of people that are stuck in the middle here. You've got little children and older parents. How are you going to do them both, okay? So clearly when it comes to these different leave policies, if you put them all together, flexible scheduling is the most popular benefit. And I think that's a beautiful idea. As long as you do your work, what does it matter if you did it 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3? What do I care what hours you did the work that was necessary? Right? And so here is a kind of a summarization of some of the benefits that are being offered for work-life supports, right, to support families. As we said, child care benefits, which would be a huge, sick child. Oh my God, yes. Oh, even if you got your child care set up, you're going to get random calls in the middle of the day. Oh, your child has a fever of 99.6. You must pick them up. Then you must provide a note that they went to a doctor. Then you must wait 24 hours. And I mean, I understand why they do it, but holy shit. I mean, it's not possible. What? I mean, you're going to lose an entire 2 days. You have to go to the doctor. You have to cut work early. You have to skip the next day. I mean, for people people that are on the edge of financial, I don't know how it's possible. It's just a horrendous situation. Okay, elder care benefits. All right, so flexible. That's a big one. Time off, of course. These are traditional, but non-traditional ones. Okay, on-site physicians, dry cleaning. Interesting. Because if you're working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I don't know when you get your annual physical done. I can't see it. Okay, take home meals. That's not bad. On-site fitness centers. I mean, this makes a lot of sense at a big corporation. Okay, flu shots. Yeah, absolutely. If you're working 9 to 5, when are you going to get that stuff done? But some other things, tuition reimbursements, scholarships, student loan assistance, look at housing assistance, relocation assistance. So there can be all kinds of discounts for local merchants. Yeah, absolutely. I used to get a discount with AT&T because of a program with Wesleyan. Okay, so there's all kinds of potential work-life supports that an organization can provide.